In the heart of a quaint little town, two brothers, James and Oliver, were known for their inseparable bond. Growing up in a cozy house with a white picket fence, they spent countless days exploring the nearby woods, building forts, and dreaming of grand adventures. Their laughter echoed through the streets as they raced bicycles down the hilly paths, each trying to outdo the other in playful competition. James, the older brother, was full of energy and ambition. He dreamed of becoming an inventor, always sketching ideas for new gadgets in his notebook. Oliver, on the other hand, was more thoughtful and artistic, often found with a paintbrush in hand, capturing the beauty of their surroundings on canvas. Together, they complemented each other perfectly, sharing their dreams and inspiring one another. As they grew older, the brothers began to map out their futures. They talked about traveling far and wide. James envisioned cities filled with innovation while Oliver dreamed of painting landscapes in distant lands. However, despite their close friendship, a shadow loomed on the horizon. A local issue would soon test their bond in ways they never expected. The town started to change with whispers of a new factory that could bring jobs and prosperity but might also alter their beloved home forever. Little did they know that soon, this division would turn their playful rivalry into something much deeper and more challenging. A rivalry that would divide not only them but also their entire town. As the news of the factory proposal spread through the town, excitement mixed with worry. Some people saw it as a chance for new jobs and economic growth, believing that the factory could breathe life into the local economy. They talked about the benefits at coffee shops and community gatherings, imagining a future where families could thrive and children would have more opportunities. However, not everyone shared this optimistic view. Many residents feared that a factory would bring noise, pollution, and unwanted changes to their peaceful way of life. The once safe woods where James and Oliver played were threatened, as they could be cleared for parking lots or industrial buildings. These concerns turned neighbors against each other, with heated debates erupting at town hall meetings. Families that had lived next door for generations found themselves on opposite sides of the issue. Friends who had shared meals found it hard to speak without arguing. James joined those in favor of the factory, believing it would create jobs for their town. He felt hopeful and energized by the possibilities ahead. Oliver passionately opposed the plan, fearing it would ruin the beauty of their home and take away what made the town special. As tensions grew, both brothers found themselves caught between their own beliefs and their love for each other. The factory debate was more than just a project. It was a line drawn in the sand that threatened to tear apart not only their bond but also the entire community they cherished. As the town meetings progressed and the factory proposal became the hot topic, James and Oliver found themselves deepening their opposing stances. James passionately argued in favor of the factory, convinced it would provide many job opportunities for their friends and neighbors. He often spoke to those who shared his views, picturing how more families would be able to afford new homes and send their children to college. The thought of progress excited him, and he felt a sense of responsibility to support the community's growth. On the other hand, Oliver stood firmly against the project, feeling a knot of anxiety twist in his stomach every time he heard someone mention the factory. He pictured the beautiful woods where they used to play being replaced by machines and parking lots. To him, preserving the environment was not just important, it was essential for the heart of their town. He organized peaceful protests with other residents who felt similarly, urging them to protect their home from what he saw as an impending disaster. The tension between them came to a head one evening after a particularly heated town meeting at which both brothers had spoken passionately about their views. When James returned home, he found Oliver waiting for him, frustration etched on his face. Their argument erupted like a thunderstorm, with hurtful words exchanged as they each accused the other of not understanding their feelings or priorities. In that moment, they weren't just brothers but two rivals with different visions of their town's future, each feeling more alone than ever before. As days turned into weeks, the rivalry between James and Oliver became impossible to ignore. Their discussions transformed into heated debates, with both brothers becoming more vocal about their views. Family gatherings that once overflowed with laughter now bristled with tension. At birthday parties, they exchanged looks filled with unspoken words and frustration, their parents awkwardly attempting to steer conversations towards safer topics. Town meetings became battlegrounds for their opposing beliefs. James passionately defended the factory's potential benefits, urging the community to embrace change and progress. He envisioned his friends working there and new families moving into town. Meanwhile, Oliver stood firm in his opposition, echoing concerns about pollution and lost green spaces. During these meetings, voices rose and clashed as each brother argued vehemently for his side, drawing lines that seemed to widen by the minute. One evening at a family dinner, the tension boiled over. When James made a comment about how Oliver was holding the town back, Oliver shot back that James was risking everything they loved for a few jobs. Their parents watched in dismay as the argument escalated into hurtful accusations, revealing deeper frustrations and fears that had been building beneath the surface. What had once been a supportive family atmosphere now felt like a battlefield where each brother fought not just for their beliefs but also to prove who was right. As they looked around at their family's concern, it became clear that their rivalry was beginning to harm not only them but also those who cared about them most. The growing feud between James and Oliver began to seep into the fabric of the entire town, creating fissures in friendships that had once been strong. Neighbors who used to gather for barbecues and community events now found themselves on opposite sides of the factory debate. Small-town life, built on camaraderie and support, became strained as discussions about the factory turned into arguments at the grocery store and parks. People chose sides, aligning themselves with either James or Oliver, and those decisions changed long-standing relationships. Families that had shared meals together now avoided each other in public, uncomfortable with the tension that lay beneath friendly facades. Children, once playmates, started to draw lines in the sand during games, reflecting the divisions their parents had created. Even the town hall meetings, where residents used to come together for laughter and problem-solving, became charged with emotion. Friends who once spent evenings together were now shouting at each other over differing opinions. The atmosphere grew heavy with sadness as once vibrant gatherings were tinged with unease. As Oliver continued his protests against the factory, he noticed friends turning away when they saw him coming. James felt the sting of isolation as well. Although he received praise from supporters, he missed the genuine warmth of conversations with people who no longer wanted to engage with him. The brothers' rivalry not only threatened their relationship, but also cast a shadow over their beloved community, turning a place of joy into one filled with division and heartache. The turning point came during a particularly heated town hall meeting, where the air was thick with tension. Residents filed into the cramped space, anxious whispers filling the room as everyone waited for the discussion about the factory proposal to begin. The mood shifted palpably as James and Oliver entered. Both brothers were met with mixed reactions from their neighbors, reflecting the divisions that had formed in the community. As the meeting progressed, supporters of the factory rallied behind James, who passionately presented his arguments for jobs and growth. The crowd erupted in applause, but Oliver's heart sank as he prepared to speak. When it was his turn, he took a deep breath and voiced his concerns about pollution and the loss of their cherished woods. He felt an urgent need to remind everyone of what truly mattered, the beauty and spirit of their town. However, emotions boiled over when a frustrated supporter shouted loud objections to Oliver's points, igniting a fierce exchange between the two sides. In that moment, James felt compelled to defend their family name and stood up, pointing at Oliver and accusing him of betraying their shared memories. "You don't care about progress," he shouted, hurt pouring out in his voice. The clash of voices reached a peak until Oliver finally cried out, "And you don't care about home." The room fell silent as everyone turned to watch the brothers confront each other publicly for the first time over their beliefs. Tears filled Oliver's eyes as he added, "I can't believe you'd choose a factory over our childhood." They stood there, emotional barriers crumbling alongside their family bond, as they realized just how deeply this conflict had affected not only them but their entire community. In the days following the town hall meeting, both James and Oliver found themselves lost in reflection. Alone in their rooms, they each pulled out old photo albums filled with memories of their childhood. James lingered on pictures of the two of them building forts in the backyard, their faces lit up with joy and laughter. He could almost hear the echoes of their carefree giggles, a stark contrast to the heavy silence that now filled their home. Meanwhile, Oliver sat on his bed, staring at a picture of them standing by the old oak tree, an emblem of their bond. He remembered how they used to climb its sturdy branches and dream about their futures together. As he traced the edges of the photograph, a wave of regret washed over him. How had they allowed a factory to come between them? The thought gnawed at his heart. Both brothers began to realize that their rivalry had overshadowed the love they once shared. James felt a pang of sorrow for not listening to Oliver's fears about losing their childhood memories and home. At the same time, Oliver regretted how he had dismissed James's hopes for progress and growth within their town. As they each pondered these feelings, it became clear that what truly mattered was not which side of the factory debate they were on, but rather the bond they had built over years of shared experiences. In that moment of reflection, both brothers yearned to reconnect and rediscover the spirit of companionship that once defined them. Just as James and Oliver began to contemplate reconnecting, an unexpected event changed everything. One stormy night, powerful winds swept through the town, wreaking havoc and causing widespread damage. Trees toppled, roofs were ripped off homes, and the streets quickly flooded with rainwater. The very heart of their community was in chaos. As dawn broke, both brothers emerged to assess the extent of the destruction. In that moment of crisis, they felt a shared responsibility for their town and its people. Without a second thought, they put aside their differences and joined forces to help their neighbors. They worked side by side, clearing debris from roads and rescuing stranded pets from backyards. James used his energy to mobilize volunteers, organizing a group to tackle the most affected areas, while encouraging others to lend a hand. Oliver utilized his creativity to set up stations where residents could donate supplies, food, clothing, and tools for those who had lost so much. They realized that their individual strengths complemented each other perfectly. James's leadership skills paired with Oliver's resourcefulness created a powerful force for good. With each moment spent together helping their community, the brothers began to heal old wounds. They shared laughter amidst the chaos, reminiscing about adventures from their childhood as they carried heavy branches together. The collaboration reminded them of their unbreakable bond and illuminated what truly mattered: family, community, and their shared love for the town they had almost allowed themselves to lose in conflict. As the days passed and the town began to heal from the storm, James and Oliver continued to work closely together. Each day brought new challenges, but with every obstacle they tackled, their cooperation forged a deeper understanding between them. They learned to appreciate each other's strengths in ways they hadn't before. James's natural ability to rally the community inspired Oliver, while Oliver's creativity provided innovative solutions to streamline their efforts. One afternoon, while sorting donations at the community center, James suddenly asked, "Do you think we could set up a nature project after this? Something to honor those woods we loved?" Oliver's eyes brightened as he absorbed his brother's words. "I'd love that. We could engage everyone and teach them about preserving our environment." That conversation marked a significant shift. They were no longer just brothers divided by disagreement, but partners with a shared vision for their town. Working side by side, they began to share more than just tasks. They opened up about their motivations, explaining why the factory mattered to them and why protecting their home was equally crucial. This dialogue helped them realize that both perspectives had value. Their laughter returned, echoing through the community center as they crafted plans for future projects. In rebuilding their relationship, James and Oliver found not just a renewed bond, but also a collaboration that united their community. It became clear to them that understanding each other's viewpoints not only healed their rift but also strengthened the very foundation of their beloved town. As time passed, the bond between James and Oliver emerged stronger than ever. The brothers not only rekindled their friendship but also became a symbol of healing for the entire town. Their collaborative efforts to restore their community after the storm inspired others, turning rivalries into friendships as neighbors joined hands to rebuild what had been lost. With their renewed partnership, James and Oliver launched projects aimed at both economic growth and environmental protection, inviting townsfolk from all sides to contribute. They organized community events that emphasized unity, reminding everyone of the shared values and dreams that initially bound them together. As people worked side by side, cleaning parks, planting trees, and creating job opportunities, The divisions that had once plagued their town began to dissolve. The attempts to bridge gaps brought genuine dialogue back into relationships. Neighbors who had avoided each other during the factory debate now shared laughter and stories while working together. James and Oliver learned to appreciate that differing perspectives could coexist and enrich their community, rather than divide it. Through their efforts, the brothers not only healed their own relationship but also became ambassadors of compassion and understanding in the town. They showed everyone that embracing unity over conflict was essential for lasting harmony. As they looked around at the vibrant gatherings filled with smiling faces, James and Oliver finally understood that the true essence of their home lay in cooperation, love, and the bonds that can withstand even the fiercest storms.